I have no idea who needs to hear this, but if adulthood feels like a scam, you are not alone. Let's unpack this fraud together. Welcome to another episode of This May Be Nothing. Intro music. Okay, before we dive into the episode, let's do a quick check in. Okay, before we dive into the episode, firstly, thank you for clicking on this podcast and trusting me with a few minutes of your time. I am your host, Diana, a professional overthinker by day and a sweets connoisseur by night. I do all things sugary and sweet. And yeah, welcome to the podcast. And I'm so glad that you're here. A quick check in. How's everybody doing? I know we had a pretty short week for most of us. There was a public holiday on Monday, and that was nice. It was really nice, at least for me, because I just felt like I was on autopilot for some time now, and just to have a little bit of a break was definitely needed. However, I do know that not everybody had the luxuries of sleeping in on Monday, and so yeah, we see you guys. Those that are grinding and hustling and having to do their job, like we see you guys, and we really do appreciate you. But yeah, guys, let's get into it. Today, I'm calling out the scam of the century, the world's biggest scam. And no, it is not Bitcoin, or nor is it pyramid schemes. Although, if we really think about it, it's giving the same energy. It's actually adulting. And I know we definitely have these conversations pretty much everywhere. I have these conversations all the time, whether it's at work, with my friends, at home. Just this thing of adulting feeling like a scam. These conversations are definitely being had. But I thought, you know what? Why not bring it here to the podcast? Because this is just the corner of the internet where I feel like I can talk about anything and everything that is on my chest. And recently I had to do something that kind of slapped reality in my face that I am an adult. And I was like, nah, we need to talk about this. So yeah, adulting, man. It just feels like it's the world's most expensive subscription service with no cancellation fee. It just feels like, so yeah, adulting, man. It just feels like it's the world's most expensive subscription service with no cancellation policy, no benefits, and no clear terms and conditions. We are just winging it. We are cruising. We are just moving. And before you ask, yes, I did pay my rent and I paid it in full. Did I cry while doing it? 100%. And do I know how to fold a fitted sheet? No, I still don't. But like I said, we are cruising, we are moving, and we learn. We live and we learn. So I have a question for you, and I want you to really think about it, right? Do you remember how they sold us adulthood? Because I do. Oh, I remember how they sold us adulthood. At least me, right? They sold me freedom. I could go anywhere, do whatever I wanted. They sold me money. Oh, you're going to have money, your own money, and you can do whatever you want with your money. Living in your own space. Oh, wow. To think that I can just get up and do the dishes when I want to, not because my mom is forcing me to. What a dream. What a dream. You make your own rules. I don't have to explain myself to anyone inside my own space. I was told that you'd be wearing grown-up outfits and have grown-up wine glasses, which I do have, by the way, which is actually very, very nice. I definitely had that Pinterest board uh that was titled Dream Office Aesthetic, you know, and quotes in the Pinterest board it was called Girl Boss. Oh, I grew up thinking I would be walking into a meeting in a blazer with my iPhone, or rather back then it was like BlackBerry. What a time. The Blackberries, man. BBM and stuff. But yeah, I'd be walking into a meeting with my blazer, my BlackBerry, and iced coffee and calling people darling on the phone. Instead, the harsh reality of life has me negotiating rent increases with my landlord, At the same time, I'm trying to remove the dried up chocolate stain on my fleece blanket so that I don't have to put the whole thing in the washing machine. Yeah, let that sit for a minute. So, this is where this entire conversation started. This is where it stems from. The other day, I had to buy electricity. And yeah, I don't think I know how much electricity I use per month. But this time I was like, you know what? No, 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 no. Let me actually look at this thing. So I go into my banking app. I've got a what you call it, an electricity meter in my apartment, and I feel like that's where everyone is going now. Everybody has a electricity meter, which is cool, but it also has its downfalls. But anyways, that's not the conversation. I go into my banking app, I purchase electricity, and I actually look at the deductions, and I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Apart from that, which is normal, there's also this thing called value exclusion, which I don't know what that means or what it's supposed to do. Like if this amount is being deducted, does that mean that, that money is going towards making sure that the electricity is, I don't know, uh, better, something? Because essentially you'd think to yourself, right? If you you buy something as a whole and then these deductions, that money is going into something else or is put aside to make that service delivery better. But that's not the case, because not so long ago we were seeing flames with load shedding. But I looked at this invoice, or the slip rather, and I was just like, I I am adulting. Tell me why adulthood is just walking past the things you used to enjoy because you've done the mental maths and you know that purchasing these avos, okay, that are 75 rand or however much they are, is not worth the emotional damage. Now, granted, I'm speaking on behalf of my friends who really do enjoy avocados and they really care about how much it costs. I, on the other hand, could not care about the price of avocados because I don't like them. And yeah, you're probably sitting over there and you pulled a stank face like, oh my goodness, Diana, what is wrong with you? I don't care. I do not like avocados. If green had a taste, it would be an avocado. Let's be real. But you know what? Let's break it down. Let's break it down even more, right? You need a job to make money. You need money to survive. But the job that you're working drains your soul and the money disappears in debit orders. Our salaries have become view once. It comes in and it goes out, and that is that. No ifs, ands, or buts. And now you're trying to convince yourself that a 3-day-old smoothie counts as self care. Come on, guys. Is this what we subscribe to? Why is being an adult difficult now when we have to be the adults? That's the part that I don't get. Let me not even get started with all the admin that you need to do as an adult. There is tax. There is insurance, there is medical aid, there is picking the cheapest data bundle and the Wi-Fi and the all that. There is calling service providers because the load shedding schedule said that my power was meant to come back at 2 p.m. It is now 4 and the power is still not back. What is going on? I have had my fair share with the city of Joburg. Whether it is Joburg Water, whether it is City Power, I have had my share, and I'm just like, surely not. This cannot be what it boils down to. And on top of that, how are we expected to do all these things and be emotionally available in our relationships? Actually, someone tell me. Someone tell me. Side note, oh, this is a rant now because adulthood has also come with chronic backache. and pain everywhere. Like there are parts of my body that hurt because I know I'm aging. I used to be able to jump over fences just for fun. I was doing the backflips and the twirls and the all that stuff. And now, if I sleep funny or I sleep in one position the whole night, I can't turn my neck for 2 days. My eyesight is getting worse, right? And now it just feels like my birthday wish list is no longer the things that, ooh, I want and ooh, it would be nice. No, it's filled with dental appointments, doctor's visits, physiotherapy, and eye tests. Like I want if you could have a voucher for all of that, that's what would be on my birthday wish list. Because what is this life? Everything is also so expensive. Oh my word. Now here's where the scam gets even deeper, right? Nobody actually talks about the loneliness of adulthood. Like, yeah. We have friends, and I love my friends. Um, but everyone is busy. On top of that, not only are they busy with their 9 to 5s, but they're also pushing side hustles. Everyone has a side hustle. If you're in Joburg, oh, granted, every person that you've met has a side hustle. They're doing something else to make a little extra cash. We're busy, and sometimes we are broke, and most of the time we are burnt out. It's hard to make plans with friends because it's harder to even make plans because even when you do, half the time you're just sitting there in silence together, recharging because life is exhausting. You don't see your family as much, and quite frankly, you don't need permission from anyone anymore. But sometimes you kind of wish you had somebody who would just tell you what to do because we are cruising. We are cruising. And the older I get, the more I realize that actually nobody has this all figured out. Nobody has cracked the code to adulting. We're all just winging it. We're like birds with Wi Fi. It's like birds with Wi Fi, just winging it. So, yeah, adulting, yeah, it's giving fraudulent. It's also giving pyramid scheme with no top. And quite frankly, I do not subscribe to this message, but we're here now. We are here now. But as much as I drag it, I don't hate adulting entirely, like in its in its completeness. It's just messy, and nobody actually told us that it would be like this. Nobody really warned us. Nobody would have warned us about COVID. Nobody would have warned us about wars that are currently taking place. And yeah, we're just living in a different economy that we're not prepared for. And that's okay. When I think about it, I've had some small wins too, right? It's not all that bad. Like, for example, paying all my bills on time and feeling like I deserve a trophy. And usually that trophy comes in the form of like chocolate mousse or like a chocolate brownie, anything chocolate. That's the trophy. I don't do this, but I know people who would buy themselves flowers for absolutely no reason and saying no to certain things just because peace matters more. Learning, okay, and this is very important. Learning that having 2-minute noodles for dinner doesn't make you a failure at all. If anything, it just means that you are tired and you are practical. And maybe that's the plot twist of this whole scam, this whole adulting thing. We were never meant to be perfect at it. Maybe adulting is just a long, confusing group project. Maybe adulting is just a long, confusing group project where half of us are pretending we have read the brief, when in actual fact, we haven't. So I think it's only fair that this week's main character really goes out to the people that are pushing and are trying hard to get by. The oaks that are pushing their side hustles because their corporate job isn't It's not cutting it for them anymore. They need to make more. We see you, we appreciate you. As a matter of fact, here's a story. I went to an event. I mentioned this in the very first episode as to why I'm starting this podcast. And I went to this event, and pretty much everybody there was like, yeah, I work for this company, but I'm pushing a side hustle like this. Or I own my own clothing brand, or I own my own coffee shop. And it's just hustler after hustler. And everyone kind of has a similar story. They started from nothing and they pushed to get to somewhere. And so, yeah, I think you guys deserve main character of the week. Kudos to you guys. Keep pushing. So, yeah, this may be nothing, but I think adulthood is low key a scam. But we're here together. And that's kind of comforting. Even if I'm still confused about tax and think meal prep is just putting leftovers into a new container, that's okay. If you vibed with this episode, share it with somebody who also is pretending to have their life together. Give us a rating, review, scream into a pillow, rate this podcast, shout out in the comments, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a rating, do a little review, maybe scream into your pillow, whatever feels right. I just want to thank you for listening to my little spiral. Catch you in the next catch you in the next episode. Stay soft out there.